So you want to bead a graduation cap? Or maybe you don't. Maybe you've just always wondered how it was done. Well, either way, you're in the right place because I'm going to be showing you start to finish my process on how I bead a graduation cap. And when I mean start, I mean start. I have a blank canvas and I don't even have the design in my head yet. But that's what we're going to do today. Okay, I've compiled this into 5 simple steps. That was my throat. Step 1 being the design. Now, I'm going to be using an iPad, but if you don't have an iPad, you can just use graph paper and colored pencils, or you can honestly just think of it in your mind and go for it. But since we're going to be doing designs within the pattern, I need to map this out. I have my iPad here. I have Procreate. My iPad is an iPad 2 and I can't screen record on it. I'm just gonna have to show you this the old-fashioned way. I'm so sorry. Okay, we're in Procreate. I just selected screen size and went to, this is just the blank screen size canvas. We're gonna go to the gallery toolbar, turn drawing guide on, and then edit drawing guide. And then now we have a grid. We need it smaller though. So right here where the grid size is, I'm going to turn it to about 25. Done. And now you can see they're smaller. Now we need this to be a lot longer. Toolbar again, crop and resize. Settings, I think we'll do 7,000 by 1,500. Done. Okay, so my client has 10 colors that she wants in this design. Darker blue, red, orange, yellow, pink, green, and maybe gold or white. The background's either going to be sky blue or maroon, and then the main accent color will either be maroon or sky blue, so it'll be vice versa. We're gonna plug both into the design and just see what happens. She sent me the picture of these moccasins that she wants me to match. I kind of want to pull some designs from here and put them into her cap so that they can match a little bit more as well, but also doing my own design. So I can go back up here, go to canvas, turn on reference, and it'll have you insert a photo. I inserted the moccasin right here. I'm gonna get all of my swabs so it's easy for me to pull from. Now you gotta decide around how many beads you want. I kind of go a little crazy. Some people do like 15 or something. I like to do like 23 to 29. Next thing I like to do is count out the 29 beads and basically draw a line so that I can stay within those 29 spaces. You don't have to do it this way. You can literally just go for it. This is just how I do it because I am a little bit of a perfectionist, like not really, but when it comes to beading, I like things to be very symmetrical and make sure that like we're lining things up and doing the best of our ability. So with that, let me tell you that this was not the first, this was not the second, this was not the third or fourth, this was about the 5th design that I had drawn up and that my client and I had agreed on, which is just fine because we want a happy client. And this is a sped up video straight from Procreate, and all I'm doing is making sure that I get every color put in there, but just having fun with it, going dot by dot, kind of following that reference photo of the moccasin, but also making it our own design. And once I got it how I want it, I just mirrored it, and now we are ready for part 2, the taping. In this part, we will be taping up the cap, and I will explain that to you in just a second, but first I want to show you the materials we need to tape the cap. Of course, we have our graduation cap. We have tape. This is frog tape. You can use like white artist tape or whatever. This is what I could find, so we're gonna use this. A ruler. The reason we're going to tape the cap is so that we can keep the surface clean while we bead, but also it'll act as a guideline so that I can stay on a straight line while beading. I also have here just some size 11 beads. It can be any right now, even if you don't have your materials yet. This will just be to measure. Since I'm using 29 beads in the design, I'm just gonna count out 29 beads on the hank here. 5, 6, 10, 20, 29. Okay, the 29 beads that I have, I'm going to measure it over the cap as if I'm actually laying beads down. Once I got it pretty even on both sides, I'm taking my ruler and I'm just seeing how much that comes out to. I don't know how to read a ruler that well, but it measured to this line right here. This is where a tape comes in. I started on this side, I laid the tape across, making sure to measure until I got to the end here. And now what we're gonna do is do the back side as well. So I'm flipping this around with the tape still attached to it. And we're going to come across like this. This is the back side. I measured all the way across again. I ripped it right here and I'm just gonna fold it over. So now on one side of the cap, we have a perfectly straight line all the way around. Now we're going to flip it and do the exact same on this side, and this side. We have 3 sides done. Pro tip, you see how the canvas bunches on the outside here? Well, inside, if I lift this up and I'm measuring with the excess material, it's gonna be off. So you always want to make sure to smooth it down so that you're actually measuring the cardboard inside of the graduation cap. After taping all 4 sides, you should have something that looks like this. on both sides. And that's because your design is going to show on both top and bottom. You could stop here, but what I like to do, because I have dogs, I don't want to get hair on the middle part of the cap. And you know, it's so easy to accidentally make a mistake. Like maybe I just got done eating and I need to move this in a hurry and I accidentally grab it and like I got hot Cheeto fingers and I move it or something, you know? I just take it one step further and tape up this entire area. Nobody said it had to be pretty. So now that we have this part done, I'm still awaiting her reply about the designs. In real time, I only sent them last night to her. We're just gonna wait. She's a very busy girl. Did I mention she is from the Rosewood Sioux tribe, the reservation that I'm from? This graduation cap is because she's graduating from Harvard with her master's. So Rosebud represented Harvard. I'm so happy for her and I'm so honored that I get to be the one to make her cap for her. So now that we're done with part 2, the taping, we are officially ready to move on to part 3, the materials. Don't you ever just see a bunch of beads and you just want to like eat them? It's just so satisfying to see this dropped one. Whoops. I got every single color here. I'm still missing white. I have it somewhere. I keep dropping them. If you live in the city or something, you could get beads from a craft store or a bead store. Locally, we have our university's bookstore, and that's where I got these. And these are just size 11 seed beads. Whenever coming up with the idea for your project, that's whenever you want to decide what kind of bead you want to use. For me, since locally we have seed beads, that's what I'm going to use so that I know that I won't run out. If you have a bead store close to you, you know, you could use like cut beads or delicas. There's so many different options of beads. This is whenever you let your creativity flow. For thread, this is size D, white thread. This is very strong thread. I will warn you that it is about $25 to $30 per spool, but your beads won't break off of your project. I promise you that. Now, I personally like long needles whenever I'm doing any other project, but specifically for a graduation cap, we're going to be using size 11 beading needles. And this is just the John James brand. And the reason why I'm using this regular size needle instead of a extra long needle, which is about this long, is because you need a little bit of structure to poke it through the graduation cap. There's some people who will use an awl or a sewing machine to pre-poke the holes, but I find just a good sturdy needle, you can just go right through the cardboard in the cap. You will also need a lighter. This is my cute little lighter that I made out of polymer clay and then painted on and then put resin over it. The fool. So cute. You'll need a lighter because whenever you tie off your strings, you'll want to burn them, but I'll show you that whenever we get to it. And of course your cap, as you know, we already have ours taped up. We have our design. Honestly, that's the basics of the materials. This is a short part. Let's just get right into it. On to part 4, the beading. And that is beading with a D, beading. We are ready to bead this cap. So I hope this part doesn't confuse you because this is before I even touch the cap, but I wanted to show you actually beading the last part of the cap. And that's because we only bead graduation caps during one season of the year, or at least I do. And even though I've been beading graduation caps for about 5 years now, I'm still no expert. And honestly, I have to reteach myself every year. And there's several ways to bead a graduation cap. This is what has just been working for me. So anyway, let's get into the tutorial, why don't we? We have the bottom or the back side of the graduation cap facing towards us. We want to be poking it through to the front. So I got my needle threaded, put a few knots in there, and we're going to stick it right through the middle of the cap. If you can see, there's a little line there where I measured the center of every single side, front and back, because you always want to start the center of your design and go left and then start back at the center and go right. And that's so that you can make sure that the design is even on both sides, which will make more sense hopefully as you watch this tutorial. But I just have my first row of beads, which as you can see on the left hand side of my screen there, I have my iPad set up and I'm starting from the center of the design and I'm going to be beading to the left. I'm going straight up through the hole that I already poked and making sure to keep my string to the left, and I'm pulling that tight. Now we're ready for our second row of beads, still keeping that string to the left, and I'm just using my design to make sure I string up the right order of beads. And with each new row, you want to poke it right next to the one you previously had done so that there's no spacing between your beads. Also see how I'm keeping the string over the needle and it's still to the left, and then I release it and then I pull it tight so that it makes this kind of intertwined look between the rows of beads on top of the cap. And then whenever you flip it over to the back side here, you get just the straight thread going into the beads. Now after a while of absolutely cooking on beading, I'm going to show you how I finish off my thread. So I have a bit left. You want to make sure you have enough so that you can actually tie a knot. I'm just going back and forth through the cap in random places because that will be hidden by the rows of beads. And then you go in and tie a few knots as close to the cap as you can get it and then just cut the thread. And this is where your lighter comes in. You just want to burn that string down without actually burning the knot that you just made, and press it into the cap because it'll make it flatter. And then whenever you start a new string, just go in through the last row that you had poked so that it looks like it's just continuing on. Here I'm just showing you a new row of beads and how it really does continue on. See, it looks like nothing ever happened. And now you're ready to keep going until you hit the corner. Whenever you start getting closer to the tape, that's whenever you can remove the tape. And all I do is just keep my thumb on the bigger square panel and just rip it off the best that I can. And then you're also going to flip it over and remove the tape on the other side as well, just like this. I do want to say that this is more of a process from start to finish on how I bead a graduation cap video, not necessarily a in-depth tutorial video, just in case it seemed like I was skipping around too much. But if you want a more in-depth video on how I bead a graduation cap, please let me know, because I can do one in the future where it's like just the beading. So anyway, we're on to the corners of the graduation cap, and this was actually different for me because I try not to put any designs in the corner of my caps, but the triangles almost made it to the end without having to be in the corner. So I was just like, you know what, it's only a few rows, let's just keep going. And it wasn't too bad. You just have to measure and make sure that it all lines up. So corners do get a little bit tricky. You either love them or you hate them. I don't mind them, they're kind of fun, honestly. You just have to keep going back and forth. Like, you'll put one row down to the left and then you'll come back up and put another row down to the right, all the way down until you get to the tip of the corner. And it is just so satisfying to get those last few beads on the corner of this cap, especially when it's the last side. And now that we got the beading portion done, I'm just going up and down randomly through the cap with my string so that I can tie it off. Now I'm just snipping my string and burning it just to finish it, and now we're ready to take the tape off. This is always the best part. So satisfying. Oh, nobody saw that. Now all that's left that we have this beaded is the last and final part, part 5, the finishing touches. You're probably thinking, what is that? That wasn't in the materials. Well, it's metal rhinestone banding, and you're right. I had to order this on Amazon, and living in a rural area, we don't get things delivered to us for about 5 to 14 business days, but that's okay because it's here. And we're going to be putting the rhinestone banding on the top and bottom of this cap. I'm just measuring out how long it needs to be. Always cut it longer than you think. And we'll need to, because like I said, it's for the top and the bottom. And for this part, I'm using a glover's needle to tack this down because we're not going through any beads, and I just wanted to make it easier on myself using a sharper needle. But if you don't have one, the beading needle will work just fine. Starting this off is always really tricky because holding both of them at the same time and trying to tack them down is hard. So I usually just do the top part first, and then I flip it over and get the bottom row on there, and then I can hold both of them at the same time and just go through the top and the bottom using like a figure 8 kind of stitch, and I'm just tacking it down between every other rhinestone. Fair warning, this part is a little hard on the hands, but I love putting rhinestone banding around my caps because it just gives it that extra little something, you know, and gives it that final finishing touch. And here is the finished product. I am so excited to have this done and get this on the road to our graduate. As you can see, there's also some elements added on the top square part here. And I know they wouldn't want me to say anything because they're so humble, but I designed this woman with the lightning coming out, and my girlfriend Sunny did help me bead that. And my mom did the stars that you see on here. And without them, I wouldn't have got this done in such an efficient time. It did take a little bit longer just because picking up one bead at a time along the brim here was a daunting task, but I love daunting tasks. I love to do hard things. I love to do things that I've never done before. That's also why I didn't show you guys the process of putting the stuff on the top, because I had never beaded anything for the top of a graduation cap. Now that I've done that, if you'd like to see a video on that, I will gladly do one the next time. Pilamiyaye, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Doksha ake.